Welcome to another episode of the Two for One podcast. I'm your host, Dion, and alongside me are my fellow co hosts, coming to you live from an undisclosed location somewhere in Ontario, Canada. Former co host of the Hoop Journal podcast, it's my main man, Mitchell Sider. Mitch, your Raptors made a furious comeback last night in an overtime win over the Sixers. We've got the rematch going on right now. It's not exactly quite that close. The Sixers are pulling away here in the middle of the game, but we'll see how it ends up. We'll see how it ends
What a
up. How
way
you
with
doing today?
words. Not exactly
Yeah,
quite that close.
yeah, no, that's it's some of the best hyperbole I've ever heard in my entire life. But if I see Nick Nurse on the street, I'm open palm smacking him in the
Mm.
mouth because my God, that man is a whiny little bitch. Complain, complain, complain. Ice foot was on the line. He stepped up. Shut up. All right.
I just was thinking he was the coach of the Raptors still for a second, but that would not be the
He,
case.
you got put in the fucking boiler room last night. All right. Just like
Mm.
sit there, let it happen. Scotty had his way with your interior defense. I don't want to hear it. Fuck you, Nick Nurse.
Hell,
Calamari Boyles.
hell. And coming to you live from an undisclosed location somewhere in the mid-Atlantic, it's the former co-host of the Booming Basketball podcast, the one, the only Nate Taylor. Nate, your Knicks picked up a big win over the Blazers yesterday. They head to Sacramento Wednesday, hopefully turning things around. It's been a little bit of a rough recent stretch for them, but how are you doing?
I'm better now that Josh Hart's back on the court.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm chilling. I'm so great today.
All
How
right.
are the rest of you guys doing? This quick mental health check here.
Well, I've been
How is
better, I've been
everyone?
worse, but I appreciate the check-in. Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Josie, are you good?
No, I'm not good, man. I'm not good at all. It's been snowing
Oh,
every
it
single
doesn't
day.
matter. Okay, Mitch, how are you doing?
So close to the fucking edge. But you know what, man? I'm fantastic. I can't wait to talk
Well,
great
I said I'm
basketball.
fantastic already, so you just copied me. So you're
Mm,
both
Yeah.
inauthentic, and Dion's the only one that gave me a real answer.
yes, sir.
Anyways,
All right. Well, last but certainly
My
not
my
least.
answer was real.
no, I'm
I'm
just
doing
kidding.
horrible.
I'm just kidding. We love you, Josie.
Coming to you live from an undisclosed location near Lake Erie, it is the former co-host of the Swishwire podcast, Mr. Josiah Cook, where his Oklahoma City Thunder picked up a win yesterday over Miami. They've got a huge matchup against the Spurs once again tomorrow night. Josie, how are you? I guess we
I'm
already
doing
know, but
okay, and I would maybe on 2 episodes of Swishwire. I'd go with the Hoop Supply podcast,
fair enough.
maybe what I'm more known for. But
Wait, put the glasses on.
yeah, shout out to
Daredevil. That's
picking them.
Daredevil. We have Matt
Shout
Murdock
out,
on set.
shout out to Daredevil one time.
But yeah, I'm ready for Wimby. I'm ready.
All right. Well, I hope
Are
OKC
you
is ready
ready
as
for his
well.
body?
I'm fully ready for Wimby's body every
You see
inch.
that clip of Julius yesterday checking him out
Oh
on the
yeah.
sideline?
That's what we need to see. We need to see a bigger guy on Wimby this time.
Hmm.
Actually, before we go into the meat and potatoes of today, I want you guys saw the defense that Randall played on the Spurs, the late fourth quarter comeback that the Wolves had. They were down like 18.
I did
No one
not
saw
catch
that
that game
game.
actually. No,
Oh,
to be honest.
yeah. Actually, unironically, I thought Julius Randle played some of the best defense I've seen anyone play on Wemby. He just didn't let him really get in the airspace. Played up close, tight to his chest, muscled him up. Shout out Julius Randle for a really good game last night, and the Timberwolves looked really, really good.
Yeah, quit
Yeah.
trying to trade him for John Morant.
No, okay. I actually said right after the game, I was like, all right, never mind. You can't trade Julius Randle. So
Yeah, it's worth a discussion at some point because like Julius Randle is a very good player from time to time, but I also feel like he kind of limits their ceiling in certain ways. So
they are when he's on though and doing what he's
yeah.
supposed to be doing for that team, they are like
Hmm.
they can beat anybody on their best nights.
All right, well, fellas, thanks for joining me today. And to kick off this episode, before we get into those meat and potatoes that Nate was talking about, we of course have to talk about the latest transaction in the association. Trae Young is now a Wizard, getting shipped out of Atlanta for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. Lots of discourse over the lack of draft picks in this deal, and we'll get into the valuation for both sides of things. But just wanted to, obviously pretty big trade. Just want to get our thoughts on that quickly, and then we're going to transition into a very similar topic. But I just want to start with the draft pick piece of it because I will say it didn't surprise me all that much. Like I kind of felt like he was getting salary dump ish in this deal here, and that's pretty much what ended up happening. I mean, McCollum and Corey Kispert both pretty solid players, but were you guys expecting Atlanta to land some draft capital in this?
Crickets.
I mean, like, okay, like when you say draft capital, do you mean like a unconditional first? Do you mean a heavily protected first? Do you mean like a couple seconds? Because
Well, I
He
don't
like,
know.
means
What did you
anything.
have in mind for like what were you expecting?
I mean, I won't lie, I was expecting a couple of other teams that were like in the mix to at least like throw a Hail Mary offer, but I think in terms of what Atlanta was expecting, in like just to kind of not be set back to square zero, they get like I would say a relatively seamless fit in CJ, and Kisper's just like an interesting piece. I don't think you were ever going to get like the three firsts for Trey with conditions on them. I don't think you were going to see a 2026 lotto pick because like this quite literally is the draft where you could get potentially four different players who exceed the 2021 version of Trey, and you won't even have to blink twice about it. Like there's I think this draft is that good where nobody was going to dangle a 2026 first in there.
Well,
It
yeah, you'd just
is
be on. That'd be crack cocaine if
yeah.
you're 26
I
first.
I think the idea is like the package was going to be underwhelming at like regardless of what it was. It's just a little more underwhelming because it's the Wizards and this was like the best semblance of a youth plus a guy who fits the role right away that you could see. Like there was it's not like the fanspo mock trades were like, mind-boggling, but this was just like well, it looks like he got where he wanted to go and maybe they'll extend him, who knows.
Yeah, like I feel like you were framing it like a Trey-ish replacement in CJ and then a quote unquote young guy in Corey Kispert. I feel like that is kind of the perception. How old do you guys think Corey Kispert is?
He's
He's
26.
27.
He will be 27 in about a month and a
Yeah.
half here. So
Yeah.
Okay.
not exactly what I would consider to be like a young buck that you're like taking a swing on.
He's
We kind
a
of know,
4-year college player.
yeah, we kind of know what he is at this point, which is like a respectable shooter by
He's
all means.
fine.
Yeah,
He's
he's
fine.
totally
Yeah,
fine. But yeah, not a ton here, but I still really like this deal for Atlanta because primarily it just got off cleanly. Like for a player of Trae Young's caliber, someone who's been the face of the franchise for this many years, for him to essentially request a trade and kind of force his way out of there, and yet it didn't really come with a lot of controversy. Like obviously he was out for a while, but everything went pretty smoothly as far as moving on from the Trae Young era. So I think from that perspective, it's a solid deal for Atlanta, and it just opens up a ton of flexibility, just without having that player option looming over them this summer. So I like the deal. I feel like the general consensus was that Atlanta didn't get enough just because there's no draft picks. There's no like, is CJ McCollum going to stick around? But with the way the Hawks season has gone, for it them to be able to just move on from him this seamlessly, I think was pretty good business for them at the end of the day, above all else.
I just thought, what did people really expect with everyone even talking about how much the Hawks are better with Trey, how they need to move on from Trey? Other teams also see that and they see the
Right.
fit's not there and they see that Atlanta is desperate to move on from this guy. Is there any team jumping at the bit to go be like, okay, let's give up draft capital for a guy who a team doesn't want making $50 million? Most teams can't afford that. The Wizards were one of the few teams who can afford that. I think the one surprise for me, I guess, which isn't really a big thing, was that Cam Whitmore wasn't included in the deal somehow. I thought
Mm.
they were really trying to get rid of him. Maybe they still do move him in a future deal. I don't really think, yeah, I'm not really shocked by the fact that they got no draft capital. I don't hate the deal for either team. I don't love the deal for the Wizards, but I understand taking the swing on a guy with Trey Young's talent level. I just don't love that they're going to have to pay him $50 million again next year or whatever it was. Um,
Yeah, I believe it's a
yeah,
$42 million player option, and we'll see. Like, I do want to get into the discussion about like what Trey Young's value is moving forward. But there was one team allegedly that was offering some draft capital for one Trey Young, and that would
Oh
be Mr.
yes.
Sider's Raptors. It
Yes,
was
indeed.
reported. Now, refresh my memory. Was it that this was offered in this previous offseason quickly and some draft picks for Trey Young, or was that a
Yeah, it
recent offer?
was no, it was
It was
this
previous
offseason.
deadline,
Okay,
I
gotcha.
thought.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah, deadline, whatever.
Yeah, that
Like
kind
it
of makes
was
more
it
sense.
was
during
it
the
was
regular
like
season.
I'm
it
pretty
was
sure.
it was at a
Oh,
point where it probably would have been like, okay, you know what? This isn't like a ridiculous far-fetched idea, but same idea, right? Where like those picks were probably not the greatest in terms of what they're gonna
Hmm.
like convey into or if there was protection on it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's safe to say that both of those players' values have gone down since that, last trade deadline. But I don't know. I mean, are you kind of like upset that the Raptors weren't able to make it happen, or are you feeling like you dodged a bullet there?
I mean, I'm not upset in the way where it's like, there's this isn't even like the biggest fish to fry kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like I'm more concerned about our long-term starting or our long-term five rather than a long-term one. Um, I mean, you saw the Harden Zubac trade that I threw in the group chat. There exists a realm where the Raptors can ship quickly Yak and Grady Dick out for Zubats, for Harden, and for Kobe Brown. So I mean, hey, if there ever was a time to just like, oh man, what a crazy coincidental trade to happen, I'd be very happy to see that.
And then Mitch hits save on 2K.
Dude, I'm just saying, if in any world where there's a two, like we can trade quickly and Yak in a trade, oh my goodness. Oh,
If
thank
you
you.
guys could get off of one of those deals, it'd be fantastic.
If you can get off both in the same trade, think about it. Thank
But
you.
Every single Raptors fan collectively sheds a tear at the same time, like
Yeah,
the second that
they're
happens.
like, thank you, Masai from beyond the basketball without borders. Thank you for one last Hail Mary.
Basketball.
moving to the Wizards side of things, though, taking a swing on Trae Young here, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, well, actually, I do want to say, I think it was really funny that there was like a couple Shams tweets saying like, "Oh, Trae Young's preferred destination is the Wizards." I thought that was just
Right.
a funny little piece in there. Like, yeah,
AKA
I'm
Trey
sure,
Young wants to
I'm
request the
so
one.
sure.
He
I
just wanted
guarantee
to
he definitely
request.
wanted. Yeah,
He wanted to
That really
request the one team that had potential interest in him, or it
exactly.
was even a possibility of him going to them because he didn't want to be like, I want to go to this team, this team, this team, and that team. And all like, ah, no, we're good.
Yeah, it's like Zach LaVine trying to force his way to the Hawks allegedly, and the Hawks were like, "Yeah, no, we're
Yeah,
good.
that's
We're good
not.
actually."
We don't want that to happen.
Yeah, no,
Anyway,
we're all
Josie,
set
what were you
on that.
saying?
it just shows you how low his value really was when, yeah, he comes out and says, I want to be in Washington, D.C. to play basketball. And yeah, it just ruins all of their leverage in that moment when you say that you want to play basketball in Washington, D.C. I mean, yeah, there was never going to be any picks attached to this trade as soon as he said that. So it's kind of a weird little PR move by Trey. I don't know if you guys saw that exit post that he put on there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he was talking about like he wanted to give the season one more try, and then like the injuries and everything just kind of piled up, and he just kind of realized it was time to move on. Yeah, he's saying all the right things, and even like his presser
It
in
seemed,
Washington.
I don't know, it seemed like passive aggressive to me. Like
Ah,
he's kind of like not really thankful for his time in the city as much as some players leaving would be. He's one
mm,
of their best ever players. I mean,
yeah,
so I don't know. It just felt a little weird to me, but it wasn't messy like you said, but
yeah.
it was just a weird move.
I do feel
Hey,
like he's saying all the right things. I mean, I didn't take it as passive aggressive, but thinking back about it, I could see that. I just think, just what he said so far since he's been a Wizard, like he was talking about how DC is like a big market. He feels like it's kind of slept on. He wants to kind of
did you
reinvigorate the
see?
fan base. He was saying we are going to retire John Wall's jersey. I thought that was kind of cool. It's the
I
first
thought
time
that
anyone
was
has
actually
really like,
something I thought that was
yeah.
interesting that not a lot of people I think more people have picked up on it now because a tweet popped off. I think. Anyways, he was talking about like Alex Sarr as if he was Shaquille O'Neal and he was getting to
Hmm.
play with some generational talent big. And I like Alex Sarr a lot. And I'm not trying to belittle Alex Sarr at all. It was more so the fact that uh, Trey is just, I think, trying so hard to be like he wanted this and paint the narrative in his, in his direction and the way that he wants everything to be portrayed. I don't think that's necessarily something I fault him for, but it's just kind of funny to see because that's very obviously what's happening.
Yeah, I can't tell how genuine it is because, like I
Yeah,
said, he's
that's what I'm.
saying all the right things right now. Is he just going to revert back to being the Trae Young that he was? Because if he doesn't, if he's actually going to be more of like a bought into the system, bought into the team type of player, I really like this deal for the Wizards. I think it makes a ton of sense to upgrade their point guard play if he's going to play the right way. If it's going to be Trae Young ball for the next year and a half, we'll see if he even plays this season. Then like it just doesn't do much for the Wizards' future.
That did you hear him say like, oh, growing up when my two favorite players were Chris Paul and Steve Nash, and talking about the passing. That's why I love the pass so much. I just need to see it happen before I'm gonna believe Trey being all bought in this new era in Washington is really what I'm trying to get at.
But the offense is really where it comes down to for me because looking at this Wizards roster, they're like you look at like the core pieces of what they're building with right now. I think they all benefit from the presence of someone like Trae Young to take responsibility off of their plate as far as shot creation, ball handling. If like I said, if he's going to lean into like the Trae Young of old, then for one, I don't know that necessarily the Wizards are going to like keep him around. Like I have a feeling he's just going to like take the player option and we go from there, see what happens next season. Um, but if he's going to be more of like the Steve Nash type of guy, I think he's going to elevate Alex R to a whole new level. Like Nate, we've talked a lot about like him striking that balance between like being ball dominant versus like just making things easier for his teammates. Because I look at Bilal Coulibaly and Alex R in particular, but also a guy like Kaishan George. Like yes, there are going to be possessions where the ball is taken out of their hands because Trae Young is out there, but it's also just going to make their lives so much easier. Like yes, we want Alex R and Kaishan George to develop as shot creators, but they'll have the 16 to 18 minutes a game when Trae Young's not on the court to have those touches anyway. Just having Trae Young out there as like a pick and roll partner is just going to make life easier, just going to give them easier shots.
Yeah, I agree in a perfect world where Trae Young is being this facilitator that he's
Yeah.
supposed to be and getting his teammates involved. But the question I posed to you guys, having CJ McCollum, be this off-ball guy that also allows his teammates like Kaishan and Bilal, to get more on-ball opportunities, is that almost more valuable than having a guy like Trae when you're in terms of just developing them?
I mean, okay, so my biggest thing, and I also expressed this to Dion, was like, in terms of like stunting the growth of your players who could potentially develop better as like on-ball creators, you're hard pressed to find like 5 or 6 more creative passers than Trae Young in the entire world. You're hard pressed to find somebody who will reward the extra calories burnt off ball than Trae Young. You're hard pressed to find a guy who will feed you cylinder looks like no tomorrow than Trae Young. It's Part of me wants to be like, no, this is terrible because, Keyshawn George, I like the wiggle. Bub, I like the wiggle. Alex, being able to like take your man from that low block, face up, and then get to your spot. Those are all things that I think will suffer from Trey's like stylistic like version of basketball. But at the same time, to become like more well-rounded players and in terms of like, fitting your role, because let's be honest, if you look up and down this Wizards depth chart, are you like, is your projection going to be like Trey Johnson eventually becomes their best player? Is it Koulibaly that becomes their best player? Is it Sar going to
Whoa.
be the offensive?
Whoa.
Well,
I'm
no,
gonna
okay,
step in
okay,
right there. I'm a big Koulibaly guy, but it won't be
I
him.
think
It won't be
okay,
him.
hold on a sec before like don't
No, I
interrupt
got
the
it. I got it.
roll.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Like the idea of who did you actually view as the face of this franchise if Sar wasn't going to be that guy on offense? Because I do agree, Sar could approach that like 20 echelon level of wiggle, but I don't think he's ever going to be the fluid, like I'm your 1A, run the offense through me kind of guy.
Yeah.
I think injecting Trey into this team gives everybody a clear idea of what their actual role will be in a winning environment, quote unquote.
Right.
And it'll also do a lot to push people in the right direction. Like, I think Trey Johnson is going to be one of the most lethal, come off of a pin down, one little up fake, and just shoot flamethrowers like J.R. Smith all over the floor. Do you want to force him to ISO for 20 minutes a game? Probably not. You probably want Trey a lot more of like coming off ball action that Trey can set up. And
Trey and Trey.
if you can
Yeah.
utilize these players the way that they can meet their peak versus what their like holistic, like the stalwart of the Washington Wizards can be greater than the sum of its parts if Trey Young becomes that kind of leader he wants to be.
100%.
I actually really like that, and I think that gave me, a better. Not, I mean, it kind of maps things out for me. The way you said it gives them a blueprint kind of for what they should be on a winning team. I understand that. I actually do agree with the sentiment of Trey needs to be getting TJ, not TY, needs to be getting more,
Yeah, one of them's gonna
balls,
need a nickname now. That's gonna get
getting
interesting.
That's true.
looks off of the ball. I think a lot of those guys can benefit from, and then still just having like Kaishan still in with the bench unit, I think is one of the lead ball handlers. And I think the one thing for me, I just want to see Alex Sarr still get his post ups, and still have those little moments where he's able to do, his own thing with the ball, because I've been really inspired by what he's done, his shot making and his just decision making and shot diet in general from last year is complete night and day difference. Went from I don't like this guy very much as an offensive player to I think he can be
Yeah.
a second, third option on a good team.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely agree with Mitch's sentiment there.
Josie, do you think, well, actually, it's kind of a multifaceted question. Um, what are your expectations as far as how many games Trae Young is going to play for the Wizards this season? And if he were to suit up, because obviously he's dealing with injury right now, but assuming he was healthy and he was playing their next game, he played the rest of the season, do you actually think that he would make the type of impact to where they would be in danger of losing their top 8 protected pick?
No, I actually don't. I think that what they sent out for Trey Young is probably as impactful in a basketball sense, to them winning games. And I don't think that they're going to play him a lot if he does have that impact. So that's really what it is to me. If they can lose games but sell tickets and be fun with Trey Young on the court, then that's what they're going to do. But I don't think they're going to threaten this pick at any cost. So
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see if Trey actually plays. But I'm excited to see him on the floor when he is on the floor.
I'm a big Washington Wizards fan for the rest of the season.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you're rooting for some Washington
I need that
studies.
pick.
Fair enough. I don't think even if everything goes swimmingly and he plays 30 plus games and it's a great fit and everything, I still don't really see them getting up. Like, I'd
It's
have to
probably
check
not going to
exactly what the
happen.
record. Yeah, I don't really see them working their way outside of the top eight. I think they're fifth
Realistically,
worst
they
right
are
now.
probably they just probably or are in the midst of their best stretch that they're going to have this season. And
I wouldn't use like the last 2.5 weeks of play to say like, oh yeah, they're ready for a Trey Young and they're going to take a
because
leap or
it took
something.
them this long to even become competent,
Right.
and now you're mixing up basically
Well, you
everything that they
traded
had.
one of the guys that helped you
Yeah,
too.
right.
Yeah, exactly. CJ was so instrumental in to so many of the things that they do, especially being a voice in the locker room. They're going to have, Trey's going to have to step up as that leader too, because there's no one really left on that team as a veteran presence
Yeah, and yeah,
other than Anthony Gill.
right. Well, yeah, looking at the roster, like Anthony Gill is not a real person. He blackmailed Ted Leonos. How do you say his name? Leon,
I don't
whatever.
know.
He blackmailed the Wizards in order to still be in the league. I've never understood how he made it over from Real Madrid. He's never done anything, and yet he's stuck around for like 6 years. Doesn't make any sense. But not counting him because he's not real. They traded away CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert, who are two of their three oldest players. They have Chris Middleton at 34. He's on an expiring deal. The next oldest guy on the roster, Marvin Bagley III at 26
I,
years old.
I,
Justin
Julius.
Champagnie at 24 years old, and it all gets younger from there. So, yeah, someone is going to have to step up as a veteran leader. I mean, you guys tell me if you feel otherwise. Chris Middleton doesn't exactly strike me as like a large voice in the locker room.
He's not a
So,
leader. That's kind of why I actually completely forgot he existed for a second.
yeah,
So
exactly.
my
Totally makes
fault,
sense.
Chris.
Yeah, no, that's reasonable. The thing that kind of I'm curious about is like obviously don't rush him back from injury. Be super cautious about it. Let him get to full health, but I wouldn't just lean it like if I'm what is it, Mike Winger, right? He's their GM. If I'm him, like I'm not just going, okay, yeah, like we're just taking Trey out for the season and we're tanking whatever. Like I'd want to get him on the court this season because I think worst case for this scenario is you head into next season, Trey Young takes the player option because obviously he's not going to have any market this summer. So now he's on an expiring. He still hasn't played a single second with any of his teammates, and I was going into this year on the final year of his deal. I don't really feel like he's going to be that incentivized to lean into like the Steve Nash style of play. I think we're going to see more of like what we're used to from Trey Young. And on the other side of it, like his teammates, like what buy-in do they have with Trey Young? Because he got traded in January and it'll be all the way till October till he plays. Like I don't think that's the way to go. And I just don't think that he's going to make them that much immediately better to the point where they're going to lose their draft pick. Like I would just try to get him on the court as soon as he's ready to go. I don't know if you guys feel different.
No, I agree because I think you also want to evaluate and see where you're at and what this team is
Right. Like,
supposed to
yeah,
be
see
the
how he
next
fits
season.
in, see what the dynamic is with him and some of your young players, and go from there.
I think one of the biggest reasons you make this trade is because Trey is better for business, and if you don't play him, then you don't get anything for Trey, who's probably going to be out the door by the end of next season. Unless
Mhm.
they work out some deal, but it seems likely to me that he's not a Wizard at the end of this.
Oh, so you think he leaves after next season?
I think so.
Fair. Yeah, I can see it. I mean, if they're just like the same old Wizards next
Well,
season, even with him, then yeah, probably.
at least he owns the Knicks, man.
Alrighty, well, I think that'll wrap up the Trey Young discussion, the trade Young discussion, if you will. But with that situation in mind, a knee slapper for sure.
The
Um,
giraffe.
But with that situation in mind, dare I say, a star player getting moved into a new situation that will hopefully allow him to thrive. I wanted to take a look at the whole league and maybe point out a couple players that we think are currently in similar situations where, they're just not in the best location for their own individual growth as a player, and maybe getting them to a new situation will allow them to spread their wings a little bit. So I'm curious to hear Mr. Siders first, because I know a little bit about what Nate and Josie are going to go with, but I have no idea who Mitch has in mind for this one. So I'll
Oh,
let him kick this segment off.
I was like the first response to the group
You
chat
just
when you
are really
asked
bad
what.
at reading text.
Damn.
So
Okay. Well, I'm exposed. I'm sorry, Mitch. I didn't see your message, so I'm completely
I
blind to
rattled
this.
off like four names, and then I was like, "Would it be lazy to do this guy?" And then Nate said, "No, you know what, Mitchell? I
Oh,
don't
okay.
think
Then
that
actually,
would
I
be
do know.
lazy."
Okay, I thought it was Nate that said that. I'm sorry. My bad. Who do
Man.
we got? Who are you going with?
Well, not to destroy the illusion of who I have, but I've chosen to go with Keon Ellis as my man, who I think should fucking abandon ship and get his ass to
I
somewhere
wanted
that
you to go with the
appreciates
other
him.
one.
Oh, you
I
wanted me to
wanted
con.
I wanted the other one.
Ah, damn, I'm sorry. The other one would be so controversial that I'd have to argue uphill.
All right, well, I think I want to get to that maybe if we have time before we get out of here. But
I could make the
please
case for it. I'll
plead
do it
your
at the
plead
end.
your Keon case first, if you would wish.
All right, all right. So what do we all know about watching the Sacramento Kings? We don't.
Miserable.
We don't
They
like to
beat the
watch them.
Rockets.
They suck ass and the rotations suck ass, almost as bad as Memphis rotations. But would you be shocked to hear the ridiculous inconsistencies in my poor boy's fucking games in terms of minutes? Because like against the Rockets, he played 7 total minutes. Kind of sucks. But the game before against Golden State, 25 minutes. Oh, and then Dallas, 23 minutes. But against Milwaukee, another 5 minutes. Against Phoenix, 6 days earlier, 35 minutes. Cannot make up the minds of if
Yeah.
they want this man to catch a rhythm or not, if they want him to be a point of attack defender, or what they want Keon Ellis to be.
Well, what they want is to play Precious Achua 39 minutes in a
True.
regulation game.
True. This like not to beat the dead horse, but obviously the Sacramento Kings suck and they have no idea what they're doing. Um, in terms of Keon Ellis film, I'll spare you the having to do the deep dive and being like, let me see the advanced analytics. He is a man who
He is a man.
on his career, he's a 41% three-point shooter. He is a stable presence in terms of above the break offense. He is great when spotting up, but most importantly, he fucking hounds the ball. He's a great point of attack defender. He will if you want somebody to imitate Matthew Dellavedova, he'll give you 75% of that. It is like thank you, Keon Ellis, for participating and holding the glue of our defense together. Now go sit on the bench for a DNP. Like I do not understand how they expect a man to get into rhythm when they give him so many inconsistent minutes. I do not understand what Sacramento's stick is with not wanting to play him. The fans can't even give a good explanation as to why Keon Ellis doesn't see the floor. There are teams like the Denver Nuggets who would enjoy Keon Ellis in their company. There
Ooh,
are teams like the Toronto Raptors that would enjoy Keon Ellis in their company. Hell, the Boston Celtics would love to have Keon Ellis in their
certainly.
company. There are so many teams that he just makes sense on, and the Sacramento Kings don't even seem to like have gauging interest. They're like, we'll expect a first, but we won't really call anybody. We'll just
I
say
don't
Yeah, right.
I don't know if there's a team in the league that he'd play less minutes on than he's currently playing with the
right?
Kings.
Like this, he
Other
can
than the
fit.
Thunder, maybe.
He can fit on so many starting lineups and so many closing lineups that why not Sacramento? What do you have to gain from giving my boy Keon so many inconsistent minutes?
Yeah, and that's the thing I was going to chime in with. It's like, yeah, like if you catch him on the wrong night, you might forget he's even on the roster. And then
Yeah.
there's other games where it's like, oh, he is so essential to everything that they do with this team. So it's just weird because this was even going back to Mike Brown, this was an issue. I felt like he didn't play enough under Mike Brown, and then they fired him. Doug Christie got elevated, and it felt
What
like the first like 10 to 20 games of Christie's tenure, he was playing like 30 plus minutes every single night,
do you
and
know,
then now it's just back to where it was.
do not quote me on this like 100%. Like this is not 100% fact, but I'm pretty sure that I read this a while ago. I did not bookmark it. That apparently it was the front office is doing with Keon Ellis and Mike Brown. It was the front office urging them to play like their draft picks or whatever, or they're not like the undrafted guy. And that's part of the reason Keon Ellis wasn't getting as much minutes. And then you saw Christie try to put him back into that lineup, and then it was kind of the front office again being like Keon Ellis like need like not directly being like don't play Keon Ellis, but it was prioritized like their own guys or whatever, other their draft
I
picks. And
mean, that sounds pretty good, but then you go and actually
but
look
they're
at the
not.
numbers. There are two like young guys, quote unquote, Nick Clifford, 19 minutes a game. Devin Carter, the lottery pick from the year prior, 8.5 minutes a game. So,
Well, Nick Clifford is actually just, I think, bad, unfortunately, because I don't see him. I don't see his type of player. He's not bad. I shouldn't do that. I don't see his type of player being very useful on many teams in the league because he's essentially a guard that cannot shoot the ball, and he's not a great ball handler. I don't know what to make of him as a defender because I haven't seen him in enough positions where he's really had a tough test
yeah.
defensively. He just kind of seems like he's pretty meh at everything so far, and he's like a 24-year-old rookie.
Yeah, I think he was supposed to come in better than this offensively. It
That's
hasn't
what
it
the
hasn't been
whole
great.
pitch with him was that he was supposed to come in and make an impact immediately, and that he was a little bit of do a little bit of everything. And right now
What
he's
Jalen
doing,
Tyson is doing for the Cavs right now is kind of what I was hoping for Nick
yeah.
Clifford.
I think that's not a bad comparison. But the jump shot is really weird looking, and
Hmm.
it's not working. He's shooting like 31% from three.
Yep. Yeah, he's at 31%. Yeah, but like the argument that like, well, we got to play our young guys more. Well, that's not really happening either. So like, why are the minutes not there for him? Why is this Russell Westbrook's team, like you talked about Nate not too long ago? Yeah, why is Precious Achiuwa playing 39 minutes in a regulation game? Like, I just nothing about this
So
Kings team makes sense.
So, Mitch, do you have like a number one destination for Keon or one, two, three?
I mean, if I were to be the guy that thinks like, all right, like what team makes the most sense for him, I would love to see him on a team like Denver.
Yeah.
Denver strikes me as like a, hey, Bruce Brown, all of a sudden you suck dick. Guess what? We got Keon Ellis. Like it's I'm not saying that like I would dangle like a heavily protected first for Keon Ellis. I would, but like a team like Sacramento would gain absolutely nothing for just letting him dwindle his value down. Because the more you give him inconsistent minutes, the worse he looks offensively, and then some teams start to go, well, I don't know. Am I gonna pull
Right.
the trigger on this guy, or what am I gonna do? I would really love to see him in like closing lineups on again. The Denver Nuggets would be sick. Backing up Brown, even if like Christian Brown at some point can't close for Denver, that's a discussion for another day.
Lakers.
I mean the Lakers would be a really easy one. I just don't want anybody who I think is good or fun to go to the Lakers.
Yeah, that's fair.
I
Right.
want the Lakers to remain in poverty for as long as they
Well, and
possibly can.
knowing the Lakers, where every role player just seemingly goes to die, Keon will become a 20% 3-point shooter, and his defense will go down the toilet.
And if and I this one was another like weird one where I think it just makes sense synergistically. The Warriors for Keon Ellis would be a nice little fit. I think he does so many things there that they wanted Gary Payton to do, and he might. I know this is seemingly 6'4" and like 6'2" and a bit don't really make a lot of difference, but like to the eye test, Keon definitely holds his own
Yeah.
above his weight class. I think that's another very important thing for him. Or I know this one might not be as like star-studded, but the Bucks would be another one where I think he can slide right in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're just desperate for perimeter defense for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's no team where he wouldn't make sense on. Like
Yeah.
he's a low usage like.
Hey, you want Pacome Daddy and Darshan Yabusele?
That ain't happening. That ain't happening. I think Josie's OKC Thunder might be the one team where it's like, oh yeah, I don't really see the role for him.
Yeah, I don't
They
think he
have
would
like
play
four of
honestly,
those
but
type of
Yeah,
players
they
already.
have Keon Ellis at home already. So, yeah, I like that one. It's obviously not quite on the same tier of player as a Trey Young, but I definitely like that because he's someone that's just been rotting away in Sacramento. Um, yeah, I mean, I think they're open to moving him. We'll see what actually happens because, like you said, Mitch, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we'll take a first for him, but like, are they gonna go out and seek out the first? We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see what actually happens there. But that's a good one. I like that one.
I'm switching over to a different Western Conference team I like to
Good.
shit on. Um, Here's the thing. Here's the question that was
Oh,
asked to
real.
us. Who would benefit the most from being traded? And to me, it's not someone who, like Keon Ellis, for example, is not getting a lot of love right now. Trey Murphy, in my opinion, is someone who could really benefit from not being on a black hole in the NBA,
Hmm.
aka the Pelicans.
I thought
Um,
you were referring to Zion Williams's ass. Anyway.
What the
yes.
hell?
Well, a lot of things get lost up there, so it's easy to see that. But
Damn. The world
here's
we
the
live
thing
in.
with Trey. Right now, last four games, dude has made 23 3-pointers in his last four games. He is playing out of his mind right now. I think he's ready to contribute to a championship winning team, in my opinion. And to your point about Keon Ellis, I will raise you. Every team could use Trey Murphy in the starting
Mm.
lineup, every single team, including the Thunder. So he's a guy that he can hit the three at an elite level. He can come in and provide defense, length, athleticism. He passes the eye test. He passes the number check. I
He's a
mean, you're
real
getting.
hooper, if you will.
I mean, everybody loves this guy that knows about him. If you're watching this podcast, then you definitely know about him. But he's not a household name, and I think he could become that if he were on a team where you have more spacing, you have more other players, other great passers. Right now, his best teammate shooters, Jose Alvarado. You know,
Oof.
imagine if he played with, a
Shout out
Jaylen
Jordan
Brown
Hawkins.
or a Derek White, or if he even played with, a Jalen Williams.
Or I pose you this: what if he played with Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and he got traded for Darshan Yabusele and Pacome Daddy?
Oh my God.
And even then, he
You're
would
going to
work in that
bundle those two
situation.
pieces of shit together until the deadline passes. You're not getting anything, man. Sorry.
He's
It's
gonna
not
get
happening.
something, and I'm gonna laugh at you.
If that something is Jeremy Sohan, so be it. But
I would prefer him go to a team where they have a chance to win the title because I think he could be the difference maker this season if Pelicans are willing to trade him.
Yeah, like the
What
Cavs.
what team is going to be? Yeah, do the Cavs have three tradable firsts? Because that's what right now they're
I don't
asking
I
think
for
they have
know.
any. They
three.
might have
The
one.
Pelicans price for Murphy is insane.
They want three unprotected firsts, I think, or
Jeez.
maybe just three firsts and a young player. The Cavs will have to give up like Jalen Tyson, who's probably their only young player of really any value. He's also a key part of the rotation right now. They don't have draft picks, I'm pretty sure, from the Donovan Mitchell
No,
haul
they don't.
still.
They don't. Yeah, no, I don't see the Cavs happening unless
Josie,
they.
do you have like a did you have like a team that you think is capable of like giving the Pelicans what they want or
Oh, there's a team that's capable. It's just do they want to do it? It's my
who?
team.
Oh,
Um,
Ooh.
that's always been the guy where it's like, yes, I would give up the picks for him. I would give up the picks for Trey Murphy, and he makes a reasonable salary right now. You could do Dort, you could do a couple like a Wiggins and picks. I mean, that would work. So
Mhm.
I actually kind of I don't hate that for either team, I think, especially because of how rough the offenses looked for OKC as of late. They very desperately need
they need a power forward, and Trey Murphy does that. I
yeah,
mean,
Trey Murphy could play the two guard, the three, or the four pretty
What
much,
was
and
your what
he's
was your mock trade, Josie?
it would be like Dort and a Wiggins, maybe a Wallace or not a Wallace, a Isaiah Joe if to get to the money, but then picks.
two unprotected first and like a protected.
You give him the Clippers pick this year, and then
Ooh.
that's probably a starting point.
So see, if I'm the Pelicans, I'd fucking do it if I could just get a pick back in the top 10, potentially top 15 this year. To be honest with you, Trey Murphy's really good, but they need a draft pick in this class in the worst way possible,
Yeah.
I
even with
like
how good Derek Queen is.
I like the hypothetical. What if he's on the Pistons?
That
Ooh.
I
Yeah,
also I saw similar mock trades that they were making for Laurie just for Trey instead.
right.
Yeah,
Ah.
I think that works just as
Is
well.
that a button Josie would be willing to push? I know he's anti-button.
For the Pist, I mean, I just love Trey Murphy, and I've loved him since he came in the draft. So I'm gonna say yes. Push the button on Trey Murphy.
Does
Okay.
Josie have a little
Ooh,
man crush here
Just a
on
little
Trey
so
bit.
Murphy?
you
Yeah, I
know
saw
you
him play in person before, dude. He's amazing.
you know
He's
who
amazing.
disgustingly probably could easily throw the package together? The Spurs.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
you're right.
Ooh,
You're right.
ooh.
But yeah, he is one of those
I
guys that would be good
ooh.
for
Wait
any
a
team.
minute.
Like
I kind of
everyone
like
gets
that.
better by adding Trey Murphy for sure. So
Literally, yep.
yeah, I like that one. All right. I think we transition to Nate's. Nate, what do you got?
Yeah, come on, Nate, let's go.
That
Oh, sorry. Okay,
was good. That was good.
so I kind of want to go with the guy that Mitch was going to go with, but if Mitch still
You
wants to make that
motherfucker. No, you
case,
know what? You
no,
know what? No, I want to see because I feel like we're gonna come at it from the same optics. So I want to see where your perspective is on that one.
actually, I don't want to be the one to say it first, though. Now
No,
No, too late.
you
Now you've
can't bring
committed
it
to it
up.
now.
You
No, we
you
need it
bring it
now,
up. You
buddy.
gotta go with it.
All
No
right, so I have
shying
to get.
away.
All right, okay. Well, it's gonna be the guy I traded for in fantasy basketball today. I, dude, I think that the Cavs and Donovan Mitchell might need to break up. I think
Mm.
this
Yes, they called him a leper, but he was right.
they cast him. They'll cast you off like a leper. But I think
Nice.
that right now, what we're seeing from the Cavs is just the unfortunate halt that this team was destined to come to with the way that this roster was constructed. It feels like the Chris Paul Lob City Clippers, where they've been waiting for a legitimate starting small forward since Donovan Mitchell came to Cleveland. They haven't really had that starting three. DeAndre Hunter is great and then awful every other game.
Hmm.
Jalen Tyson has looked good after a rough. What am I, a fucking dog? A
You're a
rough
moon
rookie
dog.
year. I think Donovan Mitchell is getting to the point where you can't think about doing another rebuild with him. They're 22 and 18 right now. They could always get better and jump up to the top five seeds or whatever. But I think at the end of the day, everyone that sees this team knows that they are not going to be a contender. The Donovan Mitchell era in Cleveland has run its course. They had their opportunity last year, and unfortunately, they didn't capitalize. I think that's the reality of it. We're not seeing them win 60 plus games again with this squad. I think making it back to the second round is even going to be a very big challenge for them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely don't see it happening this season. Like, definitely ride it out, give it one last run, see how it goes. But it does definitely feel like the writing is on the wall with the way this year has gone. And if you're a Cavs fan, I think you can point to the injuries piling up. There's a bunch of different excuses you can use, but like you said, it's clear like this mix is just not the right group of guys to like get them over the hump. So if you're Donovan Mitchell, you got 2 years left after this. You play this season out, see how that goes, whatever. You try to put on a heroic playoff performance, whatever it might be. But that would be the time. with 2 years left on your deal. That's when it's just going to make the most sense rather than wait until you're on an expiring or just ride it all the way out to free agency. So, yeah, I mean, it feels like this summer could be the time. Although, if you're the Cavs, like thinking about it from the other perspective, like, do you just try to trade one of Garland or Jared Allen and just try to run this back and give it another shot? Like, I feel like that feels like the more realistic path here.
Yeah, I mean you could, but I also just where is the avenue to trading those two guys to make a competitor? Because you don't have
That I
another
don't
point
know.
guard. You don't
Yeah.
have because I just don't see. To be honestly, to me, I think Donovan Mitchell has to be a point guard on a championship team. So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know
pairing
how.
him with a smaller guard doesn't probably work. Yeah, I agree.
They're gonna have to trade one of them because they can't justify staying in the second apron for a second year with this team, and they can't do shit while they're in the second apron with them right now. So they couldn't even trade both of them in the same trade if they wanted to. So yes, they're gonna have to trade one of them. I think for Cleveland, I don't know why you would trade Donovan Mitchell before the last year on his deal. Like he's the most valuable player you're gonna get in back for him. So um, I think you keep him. But for Donovan Mitchell, I get the argument. Cleveland, they really have squandered him.
Is it too crazy and far-fetched to say that the Pacers could be an interesting location for Mr. Mitchell?
Ooh, wow.
You know, I also that
Out of
actually is
left field,
also.
Mr. Sider.
You know why that also makes more sense is because Tyrese Halliburton's like 6'5" and he guards small forwards and power forwards most
Well, he doesn't
games
guard
anyway.
anybody, but
Well,
Well,
they're
okay,
not
but
gonna.
he's
he's six
he's
five though.
sitting
You're right
in
about
he's
that.
sitting in the corner
Yeah.
against the team's two or three or their worst player.
Yeah. Although that's kind of ideally where you'd put Donovan Mitchell as
But Don
well.
can't guard either.
Yeah, Don's not exactly an elite defender.
So you're kind of
Yeah.
running into the same problem that you had with Cleveland.
I don't
Yeah.
think that they would trade him to a
An
divisional
East team.
rival
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
one
not going
team
to
seed
that
go to
also.
over.
that's kind of why I said
Yeah.
Yeah,
John Morant for Donovan Mitchell swap.
there you go.
Jeez. Oh my God. All right, so I'll go with mine to kind of wrap us up here. I have one, mine is I'll preface it by saying it's a little bit preemptive. Like this is something that I think will be more of like a mainstream discussion 2 seasons from now, maybe even 3 seasons from now. But I'm getting ahead of the curve a little
Can
bit.
I
Just 'cause-
guess?
go ahead. What do you think?
Let's all have a guessing game. The
Sure.
winner gets Dion's apartment. Um, so East or West?
East.
Okay, so it's you said the better version of Kobe White. So Giannis
Right. Well, okay, we should give some context. You had originally guessed that I was doing Kobe White, and I said no, he's just a better version of Kobe White.
or Kobe White, better version of
That's my hint.
Lamella Ball.
No, not who I was thinking for that description. No, it's not him. I will
Jalen
say though, LaMelo
Brunson.
Ball was on my list of players
Tyler
for like
Hero.
I think Charlotte would benefit from maybe moving on, but
Oh,
as
it's
as
Tyler
of late,
Hero.
actually, I kind of like what they have going on. I'm so
It's Tyler.
wishy-washy on LaMelo, and currently I'm in on him, so
Ignoring
I
me.
passed on him. Any other
He
guesses?
really is mising the fuck out of you right now. Jesus, Rimini.
It's not Tyler Hero.
It is not Tyler Hero.
Okay, I give up.
Okay.
No, Jalen Brunson.
No, no, it is not Jalen Brunson.
Let's just raid bait Nate for 12 minutes.
I wouldn't do that. No. It is another Eastern Conference guard by the name of
Mitch.
Tyrese Maxey.
Oh,
Okay, that's
Now,
where my
what
mind
the
went next.
hell? What
Yes.
the fuck?
Yeah, I get
Hey,
it. Doesn't
hey,
really make a
hey.
ton of sense right now. The
Keep
Sixers
yourself
are actually
safe, Mr. Sherman. Keep
they're playing
yourself
way
safe.
better. They're playing way better than anyone anticipated coming into the season. They're I think still hovering around the 4 seed right now. So that's all good and dandy. That's perfectly fine. They're above expectations right now. They're gonna make the playoffs, whatever. It's great.
It'd
Like
be
they've
really
gotten
good if they could trade him for a guy like James Harden to pair with Joel Embiid and try to, make a run.
Yes,
in the
my
East.
my point here is not to say that the Sixers should trade Maxey. That is not at all what I'm suggesting here. But looking through the lens of like which player would just benefit from being elsewhere, I think Tyrese Maxey's that guy. It's too early right now, but I just think we're gonna pretty clearly get to the point in a couple years here where he's like in the thick of his prime, and the Sixers are still struggling to like make the second round. Never mind, get out of it. Just because they're going to be Embiid has been better this season than I was ready to give him credit for. Like he's been pretty solid in certain games. Paul George has actually probably been better than I thought too. But at the end of the day, they're just going to be straddled by those two contracts. They're never going to be able to put like a contending team around him. I don't know why Mitch is giving me those eyes, as if there's some
They're
sort
gonna
of
be
trade market for
no.
Embiid or Paul
Listen,
George.
You said they're going to be straddled, and I was like, whoa.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, yeah. So I just think they're not going to be able to put a contending level team around Tyrese Maxey, but I think he's proven to me because I've been very wary on like giving him his flowers, but this season he's just overwhelmed me with how consistently good he's been. So I'm willing to admit defeat on the fact that he is probably a guy that can be on a title winning team. It's just not going to happen in Philadelphia. So it's all good and dandy right now. They got a young core around him, a bunch of guards, which I'd like to see them maybe make some maneuvering this offseason or even at the deadline. But I just think that pretty soon here, we're just gonna get into like some nationwide discussions about, oh, the Sixers are trapping Maxey. He's just got nowhere to go. Like he's just stuck with his team. I have zero faith that the Philadelphia 76ers are ever gonna turn things around from an organizational standpoint to where they're gonna be like a well-run, competent organization. Like I just think Maxey's gonna continue to be stuck on this team with a group of guys that are just not gonna be good enough to win a title. So Tyrese Maxey, get him out of Philly, not for Philly's sake, but for the future of his career.
I was gonna say, I was like, hold on a second before we start throwing around that kind of you know what? I wanted to immediately like open palm slap you in the face, but you know, the more that I kind of was like, okay, maybe let's not assault Dion right away. The moment I see your point of view, I don't necessarily agree with it because I think this iteration of Maxi is one that you could kind of tout as like Philly's like the face of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So that's like a pretty cool thing. What is like to you in your mind's eye, is Maxi a 1A? Is he a 1B? Is he like capable of being that go-to guy where you're like, all right, this is who we're gonna have our foundation around and then give him complimentary pieces? Do you think he exists better as like the Darius Garland to the Donovan Mitchell? Like what do you see for
Mhm.
Tyrese Maxey?
I think in the ideal world, and this goes for like anybody, like you'd love to be able to pair him with one of the because like he's encroaching on superstar territory, I would say right now with his play. It would be great if you could pair him with like an upper echelon superstar, like a Giannis, for example, just like a dominant big man to pair him with, so that he doesn't have to carry the whole load. Like I wouldn't want to put him in Jalen Brunson's shoes. He could probably do like 89% of the Jalen Brunson job,
What
which,
an oddly
as we've seen,
specific
like
number
Jalen Brunson
you
himself is
chose.
probably only like 89% of the way good enough to like lift a team to a title with like a realistic good team around him.
I agree with that point, like
Yeah.
wholeheartedly. I think that if you're gonna have a really small guard, they can be the guy on some nights. I think you need to have that second option who can at least take the pressure on the
Right.
off of them and be a legit number one option on some nights, like Carl Anthony Towns was in the playoffs last year. Not
Mm,
at all what he's been this year. But with Maxi, I need to see him do it in the playoffs before I'm ready to put him right in that tier because we have not seen Maxi
right.
go out and carry a team in the playoffs, and likely, depending, there's no way Joel Embiid is healthy come May. If he is, then okay, no, if he's not going to be,
Yeah,
so
even
I
if
was
he
gonna
is
say
healthy
I
when the
was
time comes, he's not going
yeah,
to maintain his health. Like
yeah,
that's just not going to
we're
last.
gonna
So,
get to see if Tyrese is capable of being that go-to
mhm.
guy in a playoff series, assuming they don't have some fall from grace.
Right. Yeah, I think they'll get into the playoffs and we'll get to see. But yeah, I mean, we really only saw him. He was really like the third option on that Harden and Embiid team. But he had some
Yeah, and
moments for sure.
he had some really good moments
Yeah.
and really good games against the Knicks in that Knicks series
Yeah,
too.
and I'll say he's definitely not a guy where like the lights get too bright. So I don't have really concerns about it. It is just kind of like we have to see it sort of thing. And that's why this whole discussion is preemptive anyway. Like we're not in a position where like he should be looking to like force his way out or anything. Like he's perfectly content in the present moment. But I'm looking down the line. I know the history of the Sixers organization. Like I know where this thing is headed. So I just think that I'm just getting ahead of it a little bit. I think Tyrese Maxey will be that guy that we look at as like, oh, get him out of here, get him on a real team sort of thing.
I just think the issue is that they are actually not able to build a proper team around them until he's going to be around 30 years old because Paul George's
That's
contract and
yeah.
Joel Embiid's contract.
Yeah, they're just gonna be straddled with that for the next 3+ seasons. I think 4 seasons in Embiid's case.
He's not
Uh,
there. How old is he? 26?
is he already 26? I thought he was 24 or 25 off the top of my head. But he'll be in the thick of his
actually
prime by the time it comes time to like build the next core of the Sixers team. And by then, I just think that we're gonna see a lot of. He's 25 right now.
yeah, 25. I
Um,
was gonna say I wasn't sure if you were
Yeah, he'll be 28, which isn't like too late, but
yeah, that's right in the thick of his
you
prime.
don't want to waste years of a guy who's that good.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at here. Is like it's
But I
fine right
also, yeah,
now,
there's no way
whatever.
they should trade him. They can't trade him.
Yeah, no, they should never look to trade him. I just think from his own perspective, like he's probably going to be in a situation a couple years from now where it's like, okay, let's try to find a new destination for him. Just because I know the Sixers, man. I don't have any
My
faith in the
my
Sixers putting this together.
my dream one day, I know this is probably not Mitch's dream at all, is to see Tyrese Maxey and Quickly play on the same team, and they just have Quickly be his backup, and you have those guys just mirror each other. So you just
that
essentially
is.
have,
Get 48 minutes of Tyrese Maxey.
yeah, and they're yeah.
That's
I mean,
not a bad
hey,
idea.
hey, hey, you know
Would
what?
quickly be willing to do that.
But he's not on that awful. Well, I think so. He's like best friends with Maxey, or they're close friends. So I think,
Yeah, but I
if you're,
mean, we're all good friends here. I wouldn't want to be coming off the bench for any of you guys.
I'd come off the bench for
Now,
you,
now,
Dion.
now,
I
hold on,
appreciate
Dion.
that.
That's called some of the worst chemistry I've ever heard because
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
what is that?
gladly, I would
I would come
gladly
off
be
the
your
bench for
sixth
all
man.
of you.
Dion, I
Yeah,
would set the
same.
table for you. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm a starter in this league, all right? And then I'd have to carry
Not with
myself
that
like that.
attitude, dog. What the fuck?
Trade him, trade him.
You could go you could go be a starter for some B-list fucking podcast, bro. What are you talking about? Be nice
Hey,
to
we're
your
like
fucking
we're on
Yeah,
a
put
grandma.
me
Leonard
on
that
the
doesn't
Wizards. I'll
exist
be a starter. Yeah.
podcast.
But yeah, that's just I didn't have a fantastic answer. Like I thought about honestly, I genuinely considered saying LeBron because I think that LeBron still has
All
plenty
right,
left in
see,
the tank
then I would
relative
open
to
palm
like
smack you in the
where I
face.
think the consensus is at with LeBron. I think he has more left in the tank. It's just that he needs to have some defensive support. Like the Lakers are just the worst possible team construction I think that you could cook up to like put LeBron on. So picturing him on like I don't know who's like a good defensive team that needs like
Like,
a punch.
put him on the Cavs. They need to start a small forward.
And yeah, kind of. Yeah, I genuinely consider LeBron. Obviously, he's only got a maximum of like one more season left, so like it wasn't worth the discussion. But I just look at LeBron probably more than anyone else in the league. Of like this guy's still really good, but like he's just in a terrible situation for
I
himself.
flirted with the idea. I think
You know, applied a drink,
my guy that
just
I had
tongue a little bit.
before I was forced into a corner and forced
Oh,
to pick
come
Donovan
on.
Mitchell.
Come on. What are you talking
You
about?
jumped into
I-
that corner and then we didn't let you leave. Is how it went down.
yeah, and you guys put a gag over my mouth and tied rope over my hands and
All
legs
right.
and threw me into a
Who was
room
the other
and then
guy
poured
you were
gasoline
thinking
on my
of?
head.
I remember
I,
that
I
happening.
had one that actually could happen this season. I think the only one out of all the guys you mentioned that could happen this season. I think Kobe White
Mm.
needs a fresh start just because the best version of the Bulls, whatever that the hell that looks like. I think this is what Dion said to me the other day. It's not with Kobe White. Josh Giddey's their point guard of the future. Kobe White, is he a one? Is he a two? I don't think he knows. I don't think the Bulls know.
Mhm.
And yeah, he's a good player. Just they don't need another score first guard that doesn't offer anything defensively when that's pretty much half of their roster's makeup.
Yeah.
So
I think what I said when we were talking about it is like the version of this Bulls core that like turns into more than just a 39 win team because all roads lead to 39 wins with the Bulls. Yeah, that version
That's
probably just
fucking
doesn't involve Kobe
hilarious.
White.
All
Like,
roads lead to
there's just no room, I don't think, for
Chicago.
Io, Josh Giddey when he gets back, Kobe White. Like you have a lot of other guys
Trey
there,
Jones
and
erasure.
oh yeah, I completely
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
that was bad.
Yeah, I just
That was
don't think
bad.
that there's a is a great fit for him there. Like by the time the Bulls are ready to compete, whatever that means for them, yeah, probably doesn't involve
Especially because
Kobe
Trey
White.
Jones has probably been like everything and they could have expected and more this season.
Hmm.
Like he's been one of the few like non-disappointing players
Same with
for
Iowa, I would
them.
say too. Like he's also been
Yeah,
dealing with
yeah.
injuries again, but
Io's been very good, and I think he's worth keeping. They can't keep or they have to re-sign both of them. I'm pretty sure both of them are
yeah.
free agents this summer.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly what I was gonna say. It's one of those
you
situations where like Kobe White is a great player and he makes them better. Like it's not like you take Kobe White off the team and the Bulls are
yeah they
better.
get better, but
But the fact of the matter is with him being on and expiring and with him playing out of that contract, I think he's on like 12 mil after almost winning Most Improved last year. So like he's due for a pretty big payday. And if the Bulls were to commit, like say it's like a 4 for 100 deal or whatever, now we're just leading back to 39 wins. Like that just puts the Bulls back on a course of like just running the treadmill of like
yeah,
getting
and I
to the
think
nine
if
seed.
Yeah.
like if you're the Bulls and you can get another pick, like let's say 2026, even if it's like a late first from like a
Yeah.
good team, because 12 million is a very tradable contract.
Mhm.
You're getting another pick in a loaded draft to add to
Even if you're getting like a 2028 lottery protected
yeah,
pick,
I'm
that's still
saying
an extra asset
anything
that
they
you have
get.
for flexibility. Yeah.
And then
And
you probably get decent like either a role player or a young player that's
Mhm.
making $12 million a year or something. Because I mean,
Yeah,
unless you're getting
you take a
multiple players
flyer on
back,
someone that,
you get
another
whatever
team
back.
doesn't
Yeah,
want anymore. You can just see how that works. Like
it's
hopefully
better than losing him for nothing in free agency, which is
Mm.
likely going to happen anyways.
There is a problem here, though.
what's that?
You've outlined how it's good for Kobe White, how it's good for the Chicago Bulls, but you haven't mentioned how it's good for the general manager of the Chicago Bulls,
Mm,
who does not trade his players. He
that's
just
true.
doesn't do it.
That's true.
Um, they've made like one trade in the last 3 or 4 years. So I think getting a Kobe White trade done, well, yeah, they do need to get any value they can for him. I just feel like
You call up
they're just
AK, like,
gonna.
can we? Do you want to trade? Are you insulting me? Are you insulting
Yeah,
me?
here's the word trade and
You
just
think I
immediately hangs up the
trade
phone.
you, one of my players? We have 8 super good players, and that's how you win a championship.
Super good is like the most stretch of the like he would say that and then whoever's on the phone would be like, no the fuck you don't. What are you talking about?
Who there was one other one I considered too, but now it's
Albert
escaping
Pujols.
me. Who?
Albert Pujols.
Pujols
Albert
to
Pujols.
the
Yeah, I
Nets.
mean, his time in St. Louis, like, it's been great, but I think it's time. I think a team like the Angels would probably be good for his career. Yeah, I think that's where he should
Yeah.
go. Shout out to Albert Pujols. Actually, I was thinking, oh, I said it. We were talking. I mentioned Albert Pujols yesterday when we were talking about the Red Sox because I was like, they don't exactly have Albert Pujols at first base. Like,
Oh
uh,
yeah, you did say that.
yeah, yeah. But let's wrap it here because our the overtime has gone a bit long here. Um, Yes, that'll do it for this episode. Thanks to everyone for listening. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, that little plus. Definitely helps us to grow. Share it with your friends as well. And check us out on social media at 2for1hoops. I know Mitch has a YouTube video coming for us in the pipeline pretty soon here. I'm very excited about that. But plenty of content coming across all socials, so be sure to check that out. And we will be back. We didn't get a guest this past weekend. Some unfortunate mishaps on that end, but we're looking to get him for this weekend. So expect an episode in the next few days here. But until then, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Fuck your intro. I want to hear. Did you know that John F. Kennedy was assassinated by two different characters in two different timelines? Shout out Magneto one time.
John F. Kennedy was also a mutant.